Alright, so I'm going to show you how to put the type system into Figma. So you start off with creating a text. Okay, I'm going to put in some dummy text. Next, I'm going to change the font type. So I'm going to select League Spartan font. Okay, I'm going to keep everything else as it is. And then I'm going to go to typescale.com, put in League Spartan into the drop down. And what you get is a very nice, beautifully scaled type system that's been automatically done for you. So there are two different systems of scale over here that we can see. One is in rems and the other is in pixels. So I'm going to start by using the pixels. So you see this shaded area, we're going to use that as our starting point. So it's 16 pixels, right? So I'm going to come over here, I'll select the text, I'll just put in as 16. So then you have a few more levels up. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to copy it. I'll hit Command D, so that allows me to kind of duplicate them. I'm going to start putting in the sizes. So I've got the next one at 20, so I'm going to type it in. And the next one's at 25. And then 31.25. And then 39.06. And then I've got 48.83. Okay, so you can see now all the text has been scaled very nicely. And I'm going to start with the smaller text right now, the one below the shaded line. So 12.8. Okay, let me just duplicate a couple more of these. Okay, so this would be 12.8, 10.24. And finally, 8.19. Okay, there you go. I've got the entire type system up. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to start to label them. So I'm going to create another copy over here. I'll just call this as H1, which stands for heading 1. And H2, H3, H4, and H5. Now, remember we started off with 16, the one that's shaded. Okay, so we're going to use that 16 type font as our paragraph font. So it's going to be called P1. Okay, P stands for paragraph, and then P2, P3, and then finally P4. So now I've got all these classifications, going to put it right next to this. So take note that the first font, if you look at the weight here, it says regular. So I'm going to create another text line, and I'm going to call it regular. So I can actually tell that, hey, this whole entire column is regular font. Okay, then the next thing I want to do is I want to take this entire text, I'm going to copy it. Oops, I forgot this. And then I want to have a different weight. So if you start off with regular, then I'm going to jump a weight. So I'm going to go to, say, semi-bold. Okay, so I'm going to have a difference in weight, or maybe it's too much of a difference. So maybe I'll stick with medium. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to change them to a medium weight font, including the one in the top. And I'm going to name this medium. So it's essential to have a couple of weights to use so that you have a bit more variety. And lastly, I'm going to increase the weight to bold. So this would be named as bold, and there you go. Okay, so I've got my 3 different weights set up. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put it into the system itself. All right, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to select the font, go over to this area here. Under text, you see these 4 dots. It's called style. Click on it, and immediately click on the plus. So what happens is that you will then be able to input and create a system. I'm going to do it like this. All right, I'm going to call it heading slash regular. Sorry, I'm going to call it heading slash H1 because it's a H1 font slash regular weight. Okay, so this tells me what it is. It's a heading font, and then I've got H1. H1 refers to the largest heading in all of these headings, and regular refers to the weight of the font. All right, so I'm just going to hit create style, and it goes into the library. Can you see? It actually goes into the library. So I'm going to go to the next one and repeat and do the same. So I go plus. I have to make sure that all my naming conventions remain the same. If not, I would have trouble later on. So something like this. So what I like to do is I like to copy this out. I'll copy this thing so that I wouldn't have any problems with my naming conventions later on. All right. So if I go on to H3, I can input the style. I'll just paste it in like so, and then I'll just change it to H3. Okay, everything else remains the same. So then I can actually add styles very quickly, and I don't have to worry about, you know, are my naming conventions correct or not. So I can actually just use this. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to paragraph. So paragraph is denoted by P, correct? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my library. I'm going to paste it in, but instead of heading, I'm going to type in paragraph. And this being P1, I'll just put it as P1. And then I'll copy this whole string of text to use for P2. Okay, changing this to P2. So you can do this very quickly if you do the copy and paste method. And you can do this accurately as well. So you don't have to worry about mistakes and all that. Okay, so I'm done with this row of regular weighted fonts. Now I'm going to go in and do the medium fonts. So I'm going to click on this. The same thing. I'm going to click on plus. Obviously this isn't a paragraph. I'm going to call this a heading. And this is H1 as well. The only difference is this is a medium weight font. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and create style. I'm going to repeat H2. H3, and so on and so forth. So that's why the numbers on the sides is important, because sometimes, you know, you may forget, and the numbers on the side kind of reminds you that, hey, this is a H5, all right? So you won't get them mixed up. Okay, so now I'm done putting in all of this text into the system. I've got it all nicely organized. Now I'm going to move on to colors. All right, so now we're going to put colors into Figma. We're going to start off with creating a simple square, and I'm going to pull one of this text from here. I'm going to call this 100. Okay, so I'm going to put it like that. And I'm going to duplicate this a couple of times. You can use the Command D function to quickly duplicate it. That should be enough. So I'll call this 80, 60, 40, 20, and then 0. Okay, so I'm going to start off by creating a simple grayscale system that you can actually use throughout your website design. It's very commonly used, so that's why it's kind of important to actually set this up first. I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to call it neutrals. So now I'm going to click on this color swatch here, and you see there's a number. Can you see this is the HSB system? All right. So basically it's hue, saturation, and brightness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tone down the brightness. So I'm going to bring this number down. You'll see this slider go down and get darker. Okay. So I'm going to start off right at the bottom. So I'm going to go with, say, 10. Let's give 10 a look. Okay. Yeah. 10 looks like it's a solid 100. Okay. So I'm going to get lighter. So if this was 10, I'm going to go up 15, so I'm going to do 25. Okay, and then the next one, 25 plus 15, that will be 40. 40 plus 15, that will be 55. 55 plus 15, that will be 70. And then 70 plus 15 will end up be 5. So you can see I've got a really nice grayscale going on over here. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to put this into the Figma system. I'm going to select the first square. I'll click on the style, add. I'm going to call this neutrals. I'm going to put this as gray, and then I'm going to type 100. So there you go. And then I'm going to start with the next one. Again, neutrals slash gray slash this is 80. So I'm going to copy this so that I do not forget this later on. Okay, and there you go, it pops into the next system. I'm going to repeat this until I get them all. 60. I'm going to add this, and this will be 40. 20, and this would be 0. Right, so there you have it, a very simple system, and right now it's all within the Figma system. So if you look on your right hand side panel, you can see neutrals and gray, and I've got all the grayscale values from 100% gray to 80, 60, 40, 20, and then really light gray at 0. So that's how the system works. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in the next color system. So I'm going to take this, I'll copy out another row, and I'll call this primary color. That's what it stands for. Now I'm going to start to put in the primary color over here. So I'm going to go over to Canva color wheel. I'm going to pick up a color that I like. So bear in mind that this is a primary color, and that primary color is something that you use throughout the site. So it's kind of like the main color. So I'm going to go for this blue color over here. I'm going to use the complementary color combination. There are lots of different combinations that you can use and explore. The two common ones would be complementary and analogous. Okay, so you can choose what you like to use. You can even read what they mean over here. I think Canva has done a great job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the hex code of my primary color. I'm going to come over and I'm going to paste it here. So right now, because I've initially placed in the gray color system, so it reads as neutrals gray 100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to detach the style. This allows me to then place the new hex code in. Enter, and there you go. That's the new hex code. All right. So I'm going to select this square. I'm going to click on eyedropper, which is I. Okay, I'm going to pick all of this. So I can actually do this and then pick. So I'll make them all the same color. Okay, so then I don't have to go one by one to detach the style. This is supposed to be an 80 scale, so it needs to be lighter. I'll click into the color management. Okay, so I'm going to lower down the saturation value. So the saturation value is the one in the middle. Right now, it's at 77, so I'm going to drop it down maybe by 20, maybe 57. Give it a shot. Okay, 57, and then the next one would be 57, 37. Okay, and then the next one would be 27. Okay, and then the next one could be 17. And then last but not least, it can be maybe 7. Okay, or maybe I'll just put this as 10. Okay, or 15 in this case. Alright, so let me just check the next one. That's 17. That's a bit too close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this maybe 8. Okay, so that's half of it. Alright, so I've got a very simple color grading system that goes from dark to light. Now, if you want, you don't have to use the 20 incremental scale. You can actually drop it down by 15 or whatever values you like. Alright, for now, this is just a very quick setup. So the same thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this color into the Figma system. So same thing, I'm going to click on style. I'm going to add, and this time around it's going to be, I'm going to call it primary. I'm going to slash, I'll call this blue, slash the first square was 100, right? So I'm going to copy this as well and create a style. And then I'm going to come over here, do the same. And this is at 80. And repeat. Okay, there you go. So you can see in primary colors, you have all the colors in there. You can then use them later on. So you can go ahead and do the next set, which is the complementary color. All you have to do is just come over here and copy the hex code. So you can actually bring it in and repeat the same process again. Okay, just come over here, detach the style, paste it in, the hex code. Okay, select all of this, eyedropper I, select and change this to secondary. And there you have it. So once you put all of this into the system, okay, you will have the complete color system as well as the typography system set up.